Hey, everybody. Michelle is back again. Michelle is back with the pending extinction of the mediocre man. And this is part 5, I think. I think it's part 5. And what I want to do is give some examples. And, as they say, a hit dog will holler. We have, biological women have been the target of everything since the inception. But biological women have been exceptional as to navigation and adapting to the situations. So let's hope that the mediocre man take note of what I'm about to say and decide to do the same. Here are some examples of mediocre men. All of them are in the religious tentacles. The religious tentacles are politics, financial, those are the media. The mediocre man will do everything in their power not to do any physical necessary labor. Now, they'll go in the gym and spend hours upon hours in the gym, some of them. Some of them will stay on video games hours after hours, sometimes days. Some of them will go days without taking care of themselves as far as the basic necessities of brushing their teeth, getting a haircut, changing their underwear. The mediocre man blames the biological woman for everything. If you hear a biological man talking, biological man, whether they're transgender or not, talking about the biological woman, that's a mediocre man. They blame the biological woman for everything on the planet. They blame the biological woman for the behaviors and actions of the biological man. The mediocre man refuses to take accountability and responsibility for their behavior. They always blame the biological woman for why they harmed the biological woman, why they unalived the biological woman, why they grape the biological woman. They blame the biological woman for the standards of their life. They blame the biological woman for why they cannot get married, why they are single, blah, blah, blah. In most cases, the biological woman is not attracted to the mediocre man, not because of their appearance. It's because of their behaviors and actions and the fact that they know that these men are soft. Now, I'm not talking soft. I'm talking about soft in their consciousness. They cannot make reasonable, rational, and logical decisions without them bringing in their emotions. I think biological men are more emotional than women. They're emotional. That's why they're violent, and that's why they inflict harm. The mediocre man can care less about the environment. They can care less about the planet. They can care less if the planet is overpopulated with people. They're going to do everything in their power to sow their seed, as they say. And most of the time they're infertile, so they won't tell no one that. So they have to elicit the help of a fertility doctor to stir their sperm in a dish and then place it inside a woman. In most cases, if women do become pregnant from these mediocre men, the babies usually miscarriage. There's a miscarriage. There's a stillborn. Some of them come out with these psychological problems. There's a mutation, I should say, that the children are either psychologically, unfortunately, damaged in their consciousness. They have these mutations of genetic diseases that have never been heard about, I should say. They have these mutations of grotesqueness and how some of the babies or some of the infants are developing. I can go on and on about that. The medical implications of a mediocre man is what's leading to their extinction. Again, they are infertile. They enlisted the help of a fertility doctor The fertility doctor goes in there and mix up a formula, and the math doesn't add up with their formula. Trust me on that. The mediocre man, again, the most dreadful thing a mediocre man does is blame the biological woman for every crime on the planet, every problem on the planet is the biological woman's fault. But again, the biological woman, we've evolved so highly, and we're so highly developed in our consciousness, even though sometimes we don't behave as such, we instinctively know that the planet has to survive. The planet is the priority for the existence of humanity as a whole. Again, the biological man can care less about the planet. They can care less about, the environment. For them, it's about, building muscle, rambling about how intelligent they are, rambling about how, the biological woman is this, the biological woman is that. It's a constant conversation. And again, these mediocre men will do everything in their power to avoid physical required labor. They rather have somebody else do it for them. They love to get into leadership positions because they believe that means that they don't have to work at all. And in most cases, they don't. They don't have to do, they just don't have to do the hard, intensive, discerning work. They just get somebody else to do it. They call that hierarchical structure. The hierarchical structure is the reason why the extinction of the mediocre man, even though, again, I said that the Neanderthals supposedly went extinct 40,000 years ago, nothing says that our current humanity, our current species, cannot go extinct in 40 years. Okay, so that is part 5 of the extinction of the biological man. I'm going to continue to raise these concerns because, again, a lot of people do not find it that's even possible that our humanity can go extinct or parts of it. Well, they will, okay? And not to mention the devastation to the consciousness of all on the planet is the reason why the majority of the planet will not evolve as necessary for to be considered human beings. A lot of human beings will be moved on to other planets at a certain point. A lot of human beings will be virtual out into, some will go on to the moon, some will go on to Mars, some will consider some of the exoplanets out there. Everything there's a possibility of everything. But when it comes to the extinction of a human being, those factors were put in place decades upon decades, millennia before the actual event took place. And I'm telling you, based on my discernment and based on, the math not adding up, based on our historical behaviors and actions, the damage has been done. I want to stop it right now on this Tuesday. Lots of traffic. I told you what it is about Tuesday. Nobody works on Monday, even though they come into work, but then nothing gets done. But as soon as Tuesday rolls around, the traffic is massive and it's packed and blah, blah, blah. Peace and love all over the stars and moon and mountains. Part 5, if I'm not mistaken, of the pending extinction of the mediocre man. Talk to you soon.